Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rahim Escalai, and this is 413 Sports Talk. We have a lot to talk about today, including some information that I just received. The New York Jets have finally decided to trade Sam Darnold to the Carolina Panthers for 3 picks. So those of you that had a mock draft with Trey Lance or Mac Jones or any of those quarterbacks going to Carolina, scrap it. Because now they got Sam Darnold. They're going to take a chance with him, and Sam Darnold's career is going to explode. Here we are, 413 Sports Talk, episode 16. We're going to talk about the NCAA Women's Championship game last night, preview of the men's game tonight, some NBA scores, some hockey scores, and my segment 32 and 16 continues with the NFC South. We're going to go over the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, without further ado, let's begin. NCAA Women's Championship. Number 1, Stanford beat number 3, Arizona, 54-53. First NCAA title for the Lady Cardinals in 29 years. The last one was in 1992. Haley Jones was the most outstanding player for the team this year. She, as you know, battled a lot with last year's knee injury and only playing a certain amount of games to now being the most outstanding player in the country. Let's get into it a little deeper. The number 1 seed in the 2021 NCAA Women's Basketball Tournament, Stanford and coach Tara Vanderveer won their 3rd championship. As you know, Tara won 2 in the early 90s, adding to the program's previous titles from 1990 and 1992. Stanford beat them for the 3rd time this season, and the victory is more than just a victory. The Stanford Cardinals had about 7 or 8 games that they had to do on the road, more than the normal schedule accounted for, and that was because of COVID and restrictions. Some restrictions being lifted, some weren't, and the state of California didn't allow any sporting events, so that had to be played around. And then once that was adjusted and that rule was lifted, Stanford was able to play at home, and they played so well over the last couple months, and it just rolled right into the tournament and culminated in this victory. So I love to congratulate them on what they did. I knew they weren't going to fail. When the brackets were released, I picked Stanford all the way. So I'm glad that they won. Too bad I didn't put that bracket into ESPN, or I'd probably be rich right now. Anyway, Jennifer Ozzie, the 1990 most outstanding player for the Stanford Cardinals, led a very deep class of recruits, which spawned many of women to go into professional basketball and have decent careers in the mid-90s to early 2000s. Stanford's doing that recruiting thing again with Haley Jones. As you see, 4 of the 5 starters just coming into their 2nd year, and it's points all around the board. It was a lot of great passing. So I think Stanford has embodied what they were doing back in the 90s with the starters that they have in 2021. It's not the same group of girls, but the group of girls with similar skill sets. And I think that is paid off immediately. Haley Jones was the number 1 overall recruit in the country in 2019. Excuse me. A knee injury kind of derailed her freshman year, and next year she's in the NCAA Final Four, and she's the most outstanding player. So, congratulations, Miss Haley Jones and the Stanford Lady Cardinals, for your victory. Moving on. The NCAA Men's Championship game, which is tonight at 9:30. Let's preview it. The number one Gonzaga Bulldogs against the number 1 Baylor Bears. They were number 1 on either sides of the bracket. I've been a Zags fan my whole life, and I think that they get their 32nd win tonight. Never seen a school win that many games and not lose. So this is going to be very interesting to see. It's going to be a historic night if it goes Gonzaga's way, which I think it will. Both squads are actually seeking their first NCAA title. Both have been consistent college basketball programs since 2019, with a total of 8 losses between them over that span. So that's something really incredible. Mark Few and Scott Drew, both guys. Scott Drew, Baylor's head coach. Mark Few, Gonzaga's head coach. Both guys have huge Hall of Fame careers. Mark Few's almost won 700 games, and Scott Drew is coming up on 400 victories. Mark Few's been doing it for a while, a lot longer. So I think if we were comparing the two head-to-head, you would go with Mark Few as the choice here. But they both have very good careers. Just Mark Few's just got the longevity on him. In Division I tournaments, the NCAA, Mark Few and his Bulldogs are 36-20, while in WCC tournaments they're 45-5. So who do you think's going to win, Gonzaga or Baylor? Scott Drew is 390 and 226 as a career as a head coach. His alma mater was Butler University. He's been coaching since 2003. 16-8 in NCAA Division I title games, and 10-3 in the National Invitational Tournament. Those are both beautiful resumes. I think the edge goes to Mark Few with the longevity. And he has a couple hundred more wins than Scott Drew. But they're both good guys, and I'm really excited for the game tonight. Gonzaga wins 89-74. 89-74, I say that because I'm a spread guy, and I really want these Zags to win. So let's hope that happens. Shout out to the Gonzaga Bulldogs. Good luck tonight, guys. And I have some NBA scores for you. Chicago Bulls over the Brooklyn Nets, surprisingly, 115-107. The Clippers trounce my Lakers 104-86. The Boston Celtics beat the Charlotte Bobcats 116-86. I'm sorry, the Charlotte Hornets. This isn't back in the 2000s. The Memphis Grizzlies beat the Philadelphia 76ers 116-100. The Atlanta Hawks beat Seth Curry and the Golden State Warriors 117-111. The Warriors have lost 7 of their last 8 games. What's going on with Mr. Curry and the Dubs? Not sure, but they need to get it together because the playoffs are around the corner. The New Orleans Pelicans beat the Houston Rockets 122-115, and the Orlando Magic beat the Denver Nuggets 119-109. Moving on to the Major League Baseball, we have last night the Philadelphia Phillies beat the Atlanta Braves 2-1. Toronto Blue Jays beat the Yankees again 3-1. Baltimore Orioles smoked the Boston Red Sox 11-3. Chicago Cubs over the Pittsburgh Pirates 4-3. The Dodgers beat the Colorado Rockies 4-2. Houston Astros win again against the Oakland Athletics 9-2, and the Los Angeles Angels beat the Chicago White Sox 7-4. This afternoon, we have the Twins going up against the Tigers at 1, the Blue Jays playing the Rangers, the Royals playing the Indians at 4, the Orioles play the Yankees at 6:30, New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies square off at 7, the Tampa Bay Rays and the Boston Red Sox tonight at 7:10. Milwaukee Brewers and the Chicago Cubs at 7:40. Dodgers playing the Oakland Athletics at 9:40, and the week closes out with the Chicago Whitehawks playing the Seattle Mariners at 10 p.m. Also, some NBA news for you tonight. NBA games going forward. We have Washington Wizards and the Toronto Raptors at 7. The New York Knicks play their rival Brooklyn Nets at 7. Utah Jazz and the Dallas Mavericks square off at 7. Sacramento Kings and Minnesota Timberwolves also. Detroit and the OKC Thunder. Cleveland Cavaliers, San Antonio Spurs all start their games at 7 with the Phoenix Suns and the Houston Rockets with an 8 p.m. tip-off. NHL is back in action tonight with Edmonton and Montreal at 7, Philly and Boston at 7, Vegas and St. Louis at 8, and Colorado and Minnesota at 8 as well. Moving on to my favorite segment of the show, 32 and 16. This is episode 16, so we are going to start with breaking down the NFC South. Here we go. The NFC South, the New Orleans Saints won the division, and though the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were the eventual Super Bowl champions, we want to reverse that and talk about the division winner. The New Orleans Saints were 12-4 last season. Drew Brees retired. The Saints paid Taysom Hill a huge contract, 4 years, $165 million, which would obviously indicate Taysom Hill as the guy going forward. I know Jameis Winston got hooked on for another year, but when you commit that much money to a guy, he's not going to ride the bench. And let me tell you, folks, Taysom Hill is not going to be a gadget guy this year. You will see him under center taking snaps, probably running through most defenses that play him. But Taysom Hill will be taking the snaps. He's the number one guy. He is the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints. They're one of the league's best offenses no matter what they do, whether it's running, throwing. Michael Thomas will catch it. Alvin Kamara is a beast in the receiving game and the run game, as he's proven many years in this league that he cannot be stopped. So it's going to be interesting to see what kind of dynamic Taysom Hill's play style brings to the New Orleans Saints game. Honestly, defensively, I think the secondary needs to get better. With Tom Brady in that division, you also have in the NFC Aaron Rodgers, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, guys that really like to fling it. So I believe that the secondary needs to improve, specifically the free safety position. The strong safety position, I'm sorry. Malcolm Jenkins on the other side, the free safety side, is a perennial all-star, perennial beast. He really positions himself very well, a lot better than any other safeties in the league. He's always in the spot to make the play, and that's one thing I've loved about Malcolm Jenkins' game since he came out of Ohio State way back when. So I think he is going to be the leader of that defense, and they're going to need to bring some more guys in the secondary to potentially hold down the other passers in the NFC. Also, offensively, another thing they could do in later rounds, maybe draft another running back or another target for Taysom Hill. It's never a problem to have a bunch of wide receivers or a bunch of running backs. So I think that's the direction that the New Orleans Saints should take their draft. But first, get some help for that secondary. Moving on to the next team in 32 and 16. I gotta take a moment because this is emotion. This is a tad bit emotional for me. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They finished 11-5. They were Super Bowl champs. Tom Brady got his 7th ring. Is this his last year? Restructured a contract and only have 1 year left. I'm praying. As you know, Tom Brady and the Buccaneers beat my Packers in the NFC Championship game with a lot of controversy, a lot of no calls that should have been called. My coach's process-driven decision didn't translate in a win. So Tampa Bay beat us. They moved on, and they played rather well in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. So they have that. They're a very balanced offense. One thing I noticed that Tampa Bay is very good at, and there will probably be no drop-off, is the way that they rush the passer. They benefit from perfect linebacker play with either Devin White or Shaq Barrett coming to make the play on the left or right side or even down the middle. So Devin White runs a 4.40 as a linebacker. That's another fact I just want to put out there. A 4.40. He is the epitome of a sideline-to-sideline defender. A lot of people commented that Brian Urlacher was the epitome of what you look for in a sideline-to-sideline defender. Devin White moves like his feet are wheels, and going from all angles to make tackles, to make plays. And him and Shaq Barrett Those are two reasons, especially in the playoffs when they turned up that pass rush. That led them to be victorious in the Super Bowl. So we also want to know, is this Tom's last year? He's getting close to that 45. And we all know he said, I'll play till 45 or whatever the magic number was. I don't know. We just hope that it's his last year. Defensively, the secondary needs to improve. They need to go out with that first pick in the second round and grab somebody. I think they wanted to try to trade up. One story I heard to get Caleb Fairley, but that didn't work out. Well, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the draft. And I think that Tampa Bay gets back to the playoffs, but I'm not sure if they're going to repeat. Granted, I said I wasn't sure that they were going to get to the Super Bowl this year, and look what happened. So who knows? I think Tampa Bay is still going to be good. You know, any team is good with Tom Brady, but I can't put my finger on if they're going to win the Super Bowl or not. So there it is, 32-16. We'll continue with episode 17 tomorrow, and I delve into the Carolina Panthers and the Atlanta Falcons. Carolina Panthers just got Sam Darnold. Finally, the Jets have decided to deal him. I've said it for months. Get rid of him. Let him go to another spot. Let him try to take his career somewhere else. I thought Sam Darnold was awesome in college. He didn't get to show it at all with the New York Jets. So now he's with the Carolina Panthers, and head coach Matt Rule, who's normally a defensive guy, he's got a decision now because now he's got Sam Darnold, and now all the experts predicting where that pick's going to go just have to throw it in the trash because now they have a quarterback that is a stopgap solution, which means that Carolina might still draft a quarterback, but they at least got a Band-Aid to cover the cut, so to speak. So there it is. 413 Sports Talk, episode 16. I would personally like to thank all of you who watch and support this. Like, share, and comment. Much love, and we will see you tomorrow.